The rain had just started tapping against the glass doors of the corporate building when Daniel stepped outside, his heart heavier than the storm clouds overhead. He clutched a wrinkled piece of paper, the resume he had carefully printed that morning, now crumpled in frustration. His shirt was damp with sweat despite the cool weather, his palms trembling not from the cold, but from the crushing weight of failure. He had just walked out of yet another interview, another chance at stability for him and his 8-year-old daughter, Emily, slipping through his fingers. He lowered his eyes, fighting the lump in his throat, telling himself not to cry where people could see him. Before we continue, I want to pause for just a moment. Stories like this aren't just stories, they are mirrors to our own struggles, our own moments of heartbreak and redemption. If you find yourself connecting with Daniel's journey, I'd love for you to comment below, share your thoughts, and tell us about a time you almost gave up but kept moving forward. And while you're here, please don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who might need encouragement today, and subscribe to Whispers of Kindness. Your support means the world, and it keeps us bringing you stories that matter. Daniel had been unemployed for 6 months. Before that, he had worked as a delivery driver, juggling long hours on the road while trying to be present for Emily. But the company had downsized, and Daniel had been one of the first to go. The bills piled up quickly: rent notices, overdue utility statements, Emily's school fees. He sold his car to make ends meet. He sold his old guitar, a gift from his late wife, even though parting with it had felt like losing her all over again. Every sacrifice was for Emily. She never complained, never asked for more than what they had. She only asked, "Daddy, are we going to be okay?" And every time, Daniel forced a smile and said, "Of course, sweetheart. Daddy always finds a way." But today, after sitting across from a panel of stern-faced interviewers, stumbling over technical questions he wasn't prepared for, Daniel felt like he had run out of ways. He could still hear the words echoing, "We'll be in touch." That polite dismissal was all too familiar. He had walked out, shoulders slumped, clutching that useless resume, ready to disappear into the drizzle and maybe figure out how to tell Emily that once again, Daddy didn't get the job. Behind him, the glass doors slid open. A woman's voice called out, "Mr. Carter, wait." Daniel turned, startled. It was her, the lead interviewer. He remembered her sharp white suit, her composed expression, the way she had asked the most difficult questions. She looked authoritative, unshaken, the kind of person who had never known what it was like to worry about a late rent check. Why was she stopping him now? "Can we talk for a moment?" she asked. Daniel hesitated, unsure if this was some kind of cruel courtesy. Still, he nodded. They sat on a bench under the awning, the rain dripping steadily from the edge of the roof. For a moment, neither spoke. Then she said, "You didn't answer some of the questions well inside, but that doesn't mean you don't have potential. I could see how nervous you were." Daniel laughed bitterly. "Nervous doesn't begin to cover it. I've failed so many times already. I guess I'm just not cut out for this world." Her eyes softened. "Why do you say that?" He sighed, looking down at the crumpled resume in his hand. "Because every time I try, I end up here again. Walking out with nothing. I'm a single dad. My daughter depends on me. And all I keep bringing her is disappointment." The woman was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "What's her name?" "Emily." "And what do you want?" "To give Emily." Daniel swallowed hard. "A home. A life where she doesn't have to worry if the lights will stay on. I want her to know she's safe." For the first time, the woman's expression shifted from professional detachment to something warmer. She explained her own story, how she had grown up with a single mother who worked 3 jobs, who went to bed exhausted every night, and how that resilience had shaped her. "I saw that same determination in your eyes," she said. "That's why I stopped you. Because sometimes what matters isn't the perfect answer, but the fight in someone's heart." Daniel stared at her, barely breathing. "Are you saying, I can't promise anything right this second?" she replied, "but I'd like to give you another chance. Not just for the role you applied for, but maybe something better suited to your strengths. I think you deserve that." Tears pricked Daniel's eyes. He turned his face away, embarrassed. He wasn't used to kindness from strangers, especially not when he felt like he had nothing left to offer. "Why would you do that for me?" he whispered. Because someone once did it for my mother, she answered. And it changed our lives. The following weeks weren't easy. Daniel was asked to return, not for another intimidating panel, but for a mentorship program the company offered. It wasn't glamorous. It was a 3-month training position with modest pay. But for Daniel, it was a lifeline. He threw himself into the work, learning every system, asking questions, staying late to practice. At home, Emily would sit at the table with him, drawing pictures while he studied manuals. Sometimes she'd say, "You can do it, Daddy. I believe in you," and those words carried him through the nights when exhaustion told him to quit. The challenges piled up. The commute was long without a car. Some mornings he had to wake Emily at dawn just to get her to school before heading to work by bus. Money was still painfully tight. There were days he thought about giving up, about retreating back into the hopelessness that had nearly swallowed him outside those glass doors. But every time, he remembered the interviewer's voice, "I think you deserve another chance." And Emily's smile when he walked through the door each evening was proof that he had to keep going. By the end of the program, Daniel wasn't just another desperate candidate. He had proven himself reliable, hardworking, and quick to learn. The company offered him a full-time position, not the highest rung on the ladder, but steady, stable, with room to grow. For the first time in months, Daniel went home with news that made Emily jump into his arms, squealing with joy. "We're going to be okay, Daddy," she cried. And for the first time, Daniel truly believed it. Years later, Daniel would still think back to that rainy afternoon. To the moment he almost disappeared into failure, and to the voice that stopped him. Life had taught him that sometimes success doesn't come in the form of perfect interviews or polished resumes. Sometimes it comes in the form of people who see your worth even when you can't see it yourself. And the lesson he carried, and taught Emily, was this: falling down doesn't make you a failure. Staying down does. Hope is born the moment someone believes in you, even if that someone is a stranger in a white suit. Friends, if this story touched your heart, let me ask you again, what moments of kindness have shaped your life? Share them in the comments. I'd love to read them. And please, support Whispers of Kindness by liking this video, sharing it with others who may need to hear this message today, and subscribing for more stories that remind us that hope is never out of reach. Your engagement keeps this community alive and spreading light in a world that often feels too dark. Because sometimes, the smallest gesture, stopping someone as they walk away, can change the course of an entire life.